Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advance, and this is the first rapid game of Grand Chess 2 Finals, which is going to be deciding who's going to win the entire event. And with the white pieces we have MVL, and with the black pieces we have Fabiano Caruana. I've already covered the classical games, and this is the rapid section, so let's see what happens here. So without further ado, let's start with this game. MVL starts with e4, we have c5, Fabi is ready for a fight, we have knight to f3, knight to c6, d4, and c captures, knight captures, and e5 immediately, going for the Lowenthal variation of Sicilian. We have knight to b5 and d6, and this is the basically the Kalashnikov, and here just knight c3, a6, knight to a3, and just immediately knight to f6. We have bishop to g5, we transpose into the Sveshnikov, and here just p5, and with threat of b4 in this position, so here just bishop caps on f6, g captures, and here just knight to d5, just targeting that pawn, and that knight on the center of the board is going to be a massively amazing piece. f5 now immediately by black, and here just bishop to d3 was played, and the thing is that you could go for a move like f4 in this position and it's not that bad, but the thing is that here c4 comes, and here after b4 now you play this knight to c3, a5, and your position will be absolutely fine. And although this looks scary, but it doesn't threaten anything right away. But here after bishop to d3 we have bishop to e6, now just comes castle, bishop to g7, and now immediately queen to d2. But queen to d2 is not a good move in this position, and the thing is that the move that you want to play in this position is queen to h5. And what do you do in this position? Because you cannot immediately castle. Looks like a good move, but it doesn't work. If you castle in this position, then just comes e captures on f5, sacrificing an entire piece, because if you capture that, then just comes f6, and you're just basically cooked here. That mate is just that mate you cannot even handle, cannot do anything in this position. And if you decide to play f6, then just comes queen to f5, and how do you defend this? And if you go for a move like e4, then just comes this f captures on g7 first, king captures, and after queen captures on d5 you play e captures, but then just comes queen captures on c6. You've lost a lot of material, you're not surviving this game. So after castles, the move that you want to play, actually not castles, the move that you want to play is maybe f4, and you might be able to survive, but queen is definitely going to be entering, and maybe you can castle next, but your position would still be very, very dangerous. But here after bishop g7 we have queen to d2, and queen to d2, that's why it's not a good move, because it just, I mean, that looks much better, because simply because of the fact that your queen is very active and your knight is on d5. Maybe you can play f4, maybe you can just get the rook into the game, maybe this bishop can become active, and you're not castling king side, you're not castling queen side, your king is going to be stuck in the center, so positionally your position would be absolutely amazing. So here just castles now, since you allowed it. Now just comes c3, here king to h8, and just knight to c2. We have f caps on e4, bishop captures, and immediately f5, but immediately f5 it doesn't do anything. Here just knight to f4 was played, and knight to f4 is a beautiful move by Maxime, showing how much intricacies of this position he knows. And the thing is that here you cannot even go for anything. If you go for this f captures, your position just becomes worse here after knight captures, and if you go for e captures, then the thing is that here bishop captures, and that comes with an attack towards the rook, so that is not good either. So the move that you want to play in this position is the one that was played in the game, which is this bishop to d7, and here after this bishop captures, now you go for this bishop captures that was played in the game, and here just knight to e6 going for the exchange. And I mean, in normal positions you can sacrifice the exchange and maybe you'll be fine, but in this position you cannot sacrifice the exchange without actually getting something in return. And the move that you want to find in this position is a beautiful move. It took me a while to find this, but the thing is that the move that you want to find is queen to h4, and queen to h4 is a beautiful move, not because of what happens with the queen and everything itself, but because the continuation is just so amazing. Because yes, you can capture that and go for a draw, but there's an even beautiful move. So I'm gonna ask you to pause the video right here and try to find out the absolute move that that can maybe ensure a draw in this position, because you're already down in exchange. Just why not just go for a draw? So have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move that you want to find is bishop captures on g2, and that's a beautiful move, because the thing is that that someone just threw a bishop in your face. Now what are you going to do in this position? Do you capture? If you capture, then unfortunately here you can go for a perpetual in this position, and most likely this position is going to be ending in a draw. But here after this bishop caps on g2, the move that comes to mind is, what if I just move the rook away? I mean, there is no threat, there is no checkmate in this position, so here what can you actually do? But the thing is that if you move the rook away, and you must be thinking about this obviously, but the thing is that after bishop to f3, now the thing is that here knight to e1, if you try to go for and protect the mate, it's still not good enough, because here after queen to g4 check, and the king moves, queen to h3 check, king moves here, and bishop to h6 is the idea. The thing is that your queen is under attack. What do you do in this position? You cannot capture the bishop, you cannot move the queen away, and the thing is that if you move the queen away, this comes and now threatening checkmate two ways, and you cannot protect two ways. So either you sacrifice the queen and you just completely worse off in this position. After queen captures, you just go for queen captures, and maybe you just get the knight into the game, and maybe you think you can survive, but you're not surviving this game. So here after knight to e6 we have queen to f6, but queen to f6 is the blunder in this position that ended it all for Fabi, because here queen to h4, the move I told you about, was supposed to be played, and this is not good because here just knight caps on f8. Bishop to h6 was right, but bishop to h6 comes at a very later stage in this position. Knight to e3, rook captures, and rook a to d1. Now rook to d8 was tried, but this position is now absolutely hopeless. Here knight to d5 was played, and thus there's nothing you can do. Either you resign now, or either you try to create some complications, because it being rapid time format, so both players must be low on the clock, but that's not even the case here. Fabi is completely blundered. He has 12 minutes on the clock. I mean, from the perspective of the rapid section, because they have 25 minutes plus 10 seconds increment per move, they should have a good time, but even with 12 minutes here, he was not able to calculate everything, and Maxime is well over 18 minutes, so there is nothing that you can do. Queen to e6 was played. Now comes f4, a5 now, and just b3. Here a4 was tried, but here in this position just b captures, and just c4, just trying to cement that piece right there, and there is nothing you can do. If you give up the bishop pair, then you have absolutely nothing to show for the sacrifice exchange. So here just bishop to g7 was played, queen to e3, rook to g8, and just queen to s3, trying to create some counterplay here, but I don't think it's going to work out. Bishop to d7, now comes king to h1, h6, and here just rook to b1. We have e captures on f4, rook b to e1, bishop to e5, and here just rook captures, because you cannot even capture because your queen would be hanging. So here king to h7 was tried, but now just comes queen to d3, and this pin is just very annoying, because the thing is that I can just bring the rook here, knight here, and maybe even play the move like g4, and my position is going to be absolutely killing. Here just knight to rook to g5 was played, rook to f3, queen to f7, h3 now, and here just going for this bishop to e6, rook e to f1, king to h8, queen to e2 was tried, and the thing is that just all Fabi can do is move back and forth. Yes, this is threatened, but I don't think that's even a threat in this position. Rook to b1, now just comes rook to g3, and the thing is that he played this move with like 3 seconds on the clock. There is nothing you can do. All you can do is maybe trade. Queen to f2 was played, but now just comes rook captures, queen captures, and Fabi is very much down on the clock. Queen to s7 was played, but now just comes this f4, bishop to g7, and I mean, you cannot even capture. I mean, you cannot do anything in this position. If you think you can just capture and give a check, and maybe after king moves you can try something, this rook and the queen is most likely going to checkmate you, and there is nothing you can do about it. So here just bishop to g7, now just comes queen to f3, queen to a7, and rook to e1 was played, attacking the bishop. Do you move the bishop back? Do you play it here? Well, queen to f7 was played, but here just comes king to h2, king to h7, and rook to e2. Now just comes king to h8, rook to g2, and this is the thing about prophylaxis here. I mean, your position is just so much worse. There is nothing you can do now, and all he can do is just wait based moves in this position, and there is just, your pieces are just so constricted. Either you back and forth move here, or you move back and forth here. That's exactly what Fabi does. Basically here he plays this king to h7, h4, king to h8, now h5, and all you have to do is just set up the rook on g6, and your position will be completely winning. Here queen to a7 was tried, but now just comes this, rook to g6 was completely over, because the thing is that bishop to a7, rook caps on d6, queen to d4. If you try to go, then just comes rook to d8 check, king to h7, your position just completely collapses. But here after queen to a7, queen to e3 was played, asking for a trade. If you trade queens, you're completely over. Queen to f7, queen to f3, and here just going for it back and forth. Queen to g3, now bishop caps on d5, finally going for it, and he played this move with a few seconds on his clock. C captures, now just comes queen to d4, but a3, and here king to g8 was played, but here Maxime just shows absolute precision, and this is just absolutely brutal, cold, I don't know, execution, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is that here, Fabi had like 12 seconds on his clock, but Maxime had way over more than 2 minutes. He did not calculate. He immediately just picked up his queen and went for queen captures on g7, and that just completely ends the game, because here after queen captures, rook captures, and king captures, this endgame is completely winning. There is no way black king can enter, and all you have to do is just get the king here, and that's why he played the a3 move, and that's exactly what happened. King to g3, king to f7, king to f3, king to e7, king to e3, king to d7, king to d4, and king to c7, king to c4, king to b6, and after king to b4, it was on this move, on just move 62, that Fabio resigned the game. Now he's gonna have to bounce back in the second rapid game or play some absolutely amazing blitz chess, otherwise he's just losing this. And then going towards the India versus USA match that's going to be happening in 5th of October. So let's see how he performs there, and let's see what happens in the next rapid games. I'm going to be covering a few games here as well, so stay tuned, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.